Welcome to episode 19 of the Grit Code Podcast, a place where we decode the steps of success on and off the field. I'm 11-year NFL vet, three-time Pro Bowler Donte Whitner, alongside number 378 NFL Hall of Famer and 49ers legend Patrick Willis, and with us each and every week, Bay Area TV and radio analyst Mr. Rob Brooks. And guys, with this episode, I really want to get right into it. And the reason why we named this the Grit Code was because grit equals gridiron, which internally a lot of people reference gridiron to football. When we talk about code, me and Pat, and also you, Rob, from being around a game for a long time, we have intricate knowledge on how to watch the film, understand what's going on, how to communicate, and how to fix things. So, with that being said, guys, what's the most disappointing part about this loss to the Seattle Seahawks?
The missed tackles for me.
Yeah, I would have to agree with you, Rod. I would have to say that it was when I went back and watched the film, it was the missed tackles that I counted. In the National Football League, you got to be able to make tackles. And one of the things, Dante, that when we played together, one of the biggest things that we always harped on, and Vic even graded us on, was yards after the initial hit. So for us, it was always about hitting, stopping the guy, and taking him backwards. But they did have quite a few missed tackles.
Well, the most disappointing thing for me was sitting back watching and realizing that a lot of the players on the 49ers defense, they never fucking watched Blue's Clues as kids. When you have the host and you have the little blue dog and he leave clues, and especially on that 3rd and 17, that was a vital and critical point in the game. And I'm going to explain it like this. When they're missing Fred Warner, they're missing the ultimate communicator. And on that play, when you break the huddle as a defense, we're watching how they align. Okay, first and foremost, they're going to leave clues for us. All right, 4-by-1. They have 3 receivers to the left. They have a back offset to him. They have a quarterback in the shotgun and 1 tight end backside. They're backed up on their own 25. Tatum Bethune just had a PBU to play before that could have been an interception. I really think as a defense, we're not thinking that they're going to challenge us and try to pick up the 17. So they're probably going to do the next best thing. They're probably going to run the ball, run some type of screen or quick play to put themselves in position for field position to get a better punt. Okay, that's first and foremost. So when they break the huddle and they come out near in a 4-by-1, which is an abnormal formation in football, our antennas have to go up. And it starts with the middle linebacker. That middle linebacker is supposed to tell Bryce Huff, hey, B. Huff, you see Cooper Kupp right there? He changed his alignment, his mannerisms. He's staring down at you. He's probably about to block you. It's called a pin and pull. So now as a middle linebacker, you can cheat that way. Bryce Huff knows that he can play vertical through the wide receiver. Pin and pull, they're going to bring a same side lineman to try to pull outside. He can knock both of them off, which you're taught to do. Take 2 at the point of attack, allow the middle linebacker to run through the alley and make the tackle.
Yeah.
Okay. So at the nickelback position, we have Upton Stout. What are you taught in 3rd and 17 and cover 2? You're the inside player. You're not supposed to be pressed. You're supposed to be off at 5 yards, reading Cooper Kupp, read the formation, saying, oh, a toss is coming. Now you can come up with a plan in your mind and say, hey, this is how I'm going to beat these blockers. You can beat the blockers. You can go arrow through snow. Okay, you don't. You're a small guy. You get your ass knocked off, knocked into the internal pursuit of the defense. And now we're going to get to the most disappointing part. Diamador Lenore. You talked all fucking week about how you want to cover JSN and you ready for the matchup. All right, what about making a fucking tackle on a play that can solidify and get the ball back for your offense and go down and score points? You made a business decision. And I want everybody to go back and watch that play. He was a free player on that. You nicknamed yourself the San Francisco Hyena. You saw that guy in his track the entire way. He could have made that tackle. He could have went in the hornet's nest. So you can't have leaders out there that's negotiating. In that moment, he was unwilling and unable to put his body on the line for the greater good of the football team. So that's what I want to break down. I want to break down those type of plays that the fans want to hear, the intricate details and the knowledge and the communication and how the 49ers defense, even though they didn't play their worst, you have to get the ball back for the offense. They're an offense that once they get a first down, they heat up. Couple 3-and-outs. We have to play team football if we want to achieve our ultimate goal and win the Super Bowl. And they didn't do that in the moment. That's the most disappointing part to me.
How much of that play, if we can throw percentages on it? All right. So you pointed out three things. So 33%, 33%, 33%. How much of that had to do with you have a second-year guy playing middle linebacker? There's a lot going on. Out of all the missed tackles, unfortunately, Tatum Bethune had the most. How much of him not being able to make that call based on the clues given by Seattle, how much of that had to do with Tatum Bethune being in his second year and Upton Stout being a rookie?
A lot of it.
Yeah.
Majority of it. Pat can tell you. Pat,
Yeah.
when did you get to the level to where it wasn't just about the defense that was called, about setting the front? Now you're looking at mannerisms, you're looking at player alignment, you're looking at formations, you're looking at probabilities. And you're
Yeah.
able to take all of these different data points within 25 seconds and decipher what you should do, what you should communicate, and how you can play one step faster. So, majority of them failing on that 3rd and 17, I would attribute to youth.
Yeah, I mean, it's what you said. It's what both you guys are saying. It's the youth. It's also just the awareness of what's going on. And to sum up what Dante is saying, for me, my first thing is always know the down and distance, know the situation. But to go back, Dante, and answer your question, when did it kind of hit for me? I would probably have to say probably going in my 3rd year. At first, when I first got there, when I first got to the league with Coach Singletary, it was all about just learning the fundamentals. But then after you learn the fundamentals of the game, you got to start going to another level. And Rod, what you just hit on, these guys, I mean, a lot of them are young. They haven't played a lot of football, and especially at the middle linebacker position, it comes with repetition and it comes with time. I was very fortunate to have a guy in Takeo Spikes who was that for me going into my second year. And man, shout out to Bethune and those guys for just showing up week in and week out. But at the end of the day, when the coach calls a call, one of the things I always took pride in was even if you may not necessarily like the call per se, you still got to give relentless effort and make the coach right. And on that play, it was a lot going on there.
Yeah, it was a lot going on, but you have to, and a lot of this can go on coaching as well. We have Vic Fangio, who they're going to see this week. Vic Fangio made sure that we knew every detail about the offense that we were about to face. We knew exactly what play was about to come. We understood mannerisms. We understood player placement. We understood formations. We understood situational football. And some of that I have to put on the coaching because anywhere around the league, college football, NFL football, if they give us that formation, that scenario, their slot receiver aligned closest to the tackle, body mannerisms change, like he's about to block down, he's staring at the defensive end. We know that a pull and pull is coming. So some of it I attribute to youth, but then some of it to coaching. You have to have these guys coached up, and in that moment, it's a low probability that they're probably going to pick that route. I mean, that first down up. They're actually conceding in that moment.
Mhm.
You just perpetuated what they wanted to do. And then this goes along with the other forms on defense. And some of it is on Robert Saleh. You guys remember the first, 3rd, and 4 of the game. First, 3rd, and 4 of the game, Robert Saleh, 3rd and short, you want to play man-to-man coverage. You want to be sticky. You can still give a cover 4 look. You can still give a zone look, but play man-to-man coverage. So if you're playing 4-man rush,
There's
3 underneath droppers, 4 deep players, you have a lot of vacant area underneath. Why aren't we playing man-to-man? Do you not trust us, Robert Saleh?
I think that's it. They haven't played man all year.
Yeah, but think about the next 3rd down. They played a man blitz. They almost got home to Sam Darnold. He escaped and picked up the first down. Then the next 3rd down, after he realized his mistake the first time, he went the same man blitz again, and then Jair Brown got over the top of Green and had the pass break up.
Yeah.
So
On
we
36.
can't afford for
Yeah.
our defensive coordinator to not believe in us, want to play it safe, because a cover 4 is meant to take away what, Pat? The 4 verticals, right?
Yeah, 4 verts.
So what we learned from Vic Fangio is this: you can still give a cover 4 look. And what we know from Sam Darnold from 3 weeks ago when he threw the pick 6 to Wallace underneath, showing man coverage, dropped off play cover 2, got under the slant of number 1, is that if you show him something pre-snap and you move to something post-snap, he will make a mistake. Why are we not duplicating and replicating that?
But
So
how
there's
much
ways for them to play and for your pass rush to get home. You'll buy some time for those guys to get home. We cannot just concede and give up first downs. Remember what we said last week? What if the defense can't make enough stops to get the ball back for the defense, for the offense to figure it out?
Yeah.
That's exactly what happened.
You don't think some of it has to just do with just working with what you have, filling it out?
That's my question.
And
if you're gonna beat us, I would like you to beat me with me contesting the routes. I would rather you beat me playing man-to-man coverage, coming with a blitz, inside hole player safety dropping down, inside linebacker free, reading the eyes of the quarterback, knowing that there's a high probability that you're going to throw the ball somewhere around the sticks. I would rather you beat me that way than for me to just concede and just give you easy openings in the defense. Which one would you guys prefer?
Yeah, but you don't think on that, and maybe I'm being rebuttal just for conversation wise, but do you not think that if they would have came out in the 4x1 or the 3x1 with the regular splits wide out, that it would have played almost like cover 1 because of how they lock on the receivers in a way with their reads? You don't think
cover 1 is me getting up in your face, understanding leverage, understanding down and distance, where's my help, who's the free player getting a read on the quarterback, on the down and distance, and then forcing you to push the ball over our head. It's a low percentile completion rate if you throw the ball 10, 15, 20 yards downfield. I'm going to force you to do that. And then remember, Pat, with the safeties, the way that Vic Fangio used to have us play, we would always show high and wide. We would never turn our shoulders immediately upon the snap of the football. We would always walk down into position and get good reads on the quarterback. And we could show zone coverage. We could show man coverage. We could show press. But on the snap of that ball, were we going to be where we're supposed to be?
Yeah, which gonna be
that's something that Robert Saleh can incorporate in the defense. I would like to see you challenge these offenses instead of just ultimately conceding. That's all I'm saying.
And I understand where you're coming from, but your experience, Donte, with Vic Fangio and the guys you had around you is vastly different than the Niners' current reality. And I'm with you. I would rather, if I'm gonna go down, I'd rather go down with a quick cut to the neck than you slip my wrist and I just bleed out as I watch you over and over do the exact same thing. So I'm from a mentality standpoint, I'm kind of right there with you. But it's like the Niners safety play has been interesting to say the least, really over the course of the year. And this past weekend, it left a lot to be desired. We just talked about how the Niners are young at middle linebacker and how they were young at Upton Stout and young at various places, and how injured they are and how they just don't have a normal pass rush with 4 guys like you had when you had Justin Smith and you had all the.
Well, let me explain this to you, Rod. We understand that you don't have the normal pass rush. You can't get there with 4 consistently. It's hard to get there when you bring the blitz. I'm not saying that. It's easier for a quarterback to read through the defense when you're playing loose zone defense and you know you don't have a pass rush. It's easier for him to find where he wants to go with the football.
Yeah, no, I understand that, but I'm saying Saleh's what he has to work with is vastly different than what Vic Fangio had to work with you guys and the experience that you had in situations that may have been similar to Saturday. Now, I'm not disagreeing. I'm just throwing.
Yeah, it's easier though when you play 4-man rush with zone coverage to find the holes in the defense than it is when you go 4-man rush, man-to-man coverage, maybe 2 safeties back, maybe 1 safety back deep. It's easier to find the holes in the defense. That's what I'm saying.
Do you think he feels like he has the guys to play man outside?
Off coverage, whether you're playing in their face press man, whether you're playing some type of slough off, it's more beneficial to the defense to play some type of man concept. And what I'm saying is you can walk into it, you can show zone, walk into it, you can show zone coverage, play off and play man coverage. There's variations of the way you can do it, but the easiest way to eat a defense up is not have a 4-man rush and consistently play the same zone coverages over and over.
So Dante, and again, I'm with Rod, and I'm with you. I hear exactly what you're saying, but then I can't help but, man, go back to thinking about the communication. I knew what when you guys got here, when you and Deshaun got here in 2011 when you got here, man, the communication was on another level. And what I had seen my previous 4 years, to the point where I was like, okay, because we understand what's going on up front, because we understand what's going on at the linebacker position, and because we understand what's going on at the DB position, secondary position, we were able to have those communications with those guys and everything they have going on. What we just hit on, what Rod is saying, the middle linebacker position, one with Bethune, it's his first year. He's been in and out, and then on top of that, you was having some of the injuries with some of the other guys. I don't know. Again, I'm just throwing it out there, but I just feel like, man, it's hard, it's tough, and so I feel like, man, they just trying to line up.
It sounds like we're making excuses when these coaches get paid a lot of money and they're supposed to be experts in their field. And there's 1,000 ways to skin a cat, and there's multiple ways to blitz and attack fronts and alignments and disguises, and there's multiple ways to get the job done. It just sounds like we're making excuses.
Nah.
That's how it sounds.
But isn't it their reality that they have a
because if
second-year
I
guy?
explain some of the plays out there and how they're not doing the simple things at an extraordinary level, you will really understand. Just like that 3rd and 2 that they gave up, the Chardonnay touchdown.
Mhm.
That's basic install, day one, inside zone, one back, one gap, understanding that all the front side gaps are taken, slowing down, putting your foot in the ground, and inserting into the C gap. That's Jair Brown staying square, being strong, not dipping inside on the backside, and trusting that the inside linebacker is going to be in the C gap.
But
So
that goes to what I was saying
these are
before.
day one install things.
I'm not trying to call anybody out, but man, Mustafa and Brown, it was rough sledding for them last Saturday night, and I don't know how much coaching can fix what has been a problem of varying degrees all season long.
Well, I have some tips for them.
All right,
You're
yeah.
inserting into
I'm
the
saying,
C gap
what's the
versus
tip
a
you
wide
got?
receiver that's blocking you. Stop running around the fucking block and run through his fucking chin strap.
I'm not disagreeing with
When you're running through the alley and you see a stalk block there, do not pick a side. Run through his fucking chin strap. And I have experience from this. From running backs breaking in the open field, getting beat in Buffalo, LaDainian Tomlinson specifically. Guess what? A lot of times it's not on the safeties really when those backs break through the first and the second level. A lot of times you're really praying to God to get those guys down. And if you do get them down, their coach is cussing them out on the sideline because you're not supposed to be able to get those elite athletes down. So they're not supposed to break through those levels. So that's my advice for those guys. Run through the fucking stalk blocks by the Z receivers and they'll stop trying to block you. And then when you're out in the open field, it's all about just getting the guy on the ground. So they've had some tough games, but I have seen Mustafa and Jair Brown flash and get some TFLs as well.
Sure.
So Robert Saleh did start to ramp up the safety blitzes, the nickel blitzes, and all those things in the second half, but it was just a little bit too late.
Can I ask you a question? And this is just mainly for my own personal edification. How much of the Niners being unable to stop the run with 7 had to do with how they played for the vast majority of the game? Because it seemed like in the first half, particularly in the first quarter, they tried to do it with 7. They couldn't, brought a guy down, and then had, to comparatively speaking, better success. How much of them being unable to stop the run it had to do with other parts of them breaking down defensively?
Well, some of it was Robert Saleh and some of it was a player play. And when you think about Bryce Huff, he can't play on rundowns. When you think about how he's getting dominated by tight ends, you're a pass situation, pass rusher only. He's getting his ass kicked out there by tight ends. They're capturing the edge of the defense. He's getting sealed inside. You can't play on first and second down. Then the cutback runs. And this goes for all the defensive ends out there. What are the defensive ends taught, Pat? Run away. You
Squeeze,
attach to the backside hip of the tight end or the tackle. You go
squeeze.
run first. You solidify and make sure that it's not a fucking run, and then you go quarterback level. They got 20 sacks on the season. Why would you get booed away, run away? You run upfield to the fucking quarterback. That's another problem. So it's the defensive ends, whether you're the point of attack and they're attacking you trying to get outside, or the cutback that's just doing their own thing, and they're going to continue to hurt the defense until these guys play with solidarity along the front.
Yeah, I'm gonna go back to what I was saying earlier. That it took time for us to. It took repetition, and a lot of like reps together. And one of the things that I prided myself on the most, that we pride ourselves on the most, was stopping the man in a 7-man, stopping the run in a 7-man box. And when I think about football then, I think about football now. Wasn't a lot of teams able to do that, but because we had the front seven that knew how to work together, the front line, the D line working with the double teams, linebackers know how to get to the stack to pull guys off, and if they ain't coming off, us know how to play back into the gaps. We could keep you guys back there. I remember a lot of times, man, Vic, I would always ask Vic, like, man, how come? Why I gotta do all this covering? How come we ain't putting these safeties on these tight ends? If we paid Donte and Deshaun all this money for it, I was like, "How we gonna keep them back there, Pat? You can handle this. You can handle that tight end, and we're gonna keep them back there so we can rock these coverages and different things." And so when you think about this team and everything they've been through this year, it does make it a little tougher. And as I said earlier, man, there's been times where coaches call some calls that maybe it's not as maybe we may not like as much as a player, but then my whole mindset was always make them right, make them look good
Yeah.
by any means necessary. And sometimes it just comes down to just balls out, hell bent for election. And I think when it boils down to it, you got to have you got to have a team full of those guys. And right now, I mean, they have a lot of guys that just, man, they trying to figure it out and just stay consistent.
I want to single out a guy, D. Winters. Yeah, he's injured. I think he has an ankle injury right now, probably questionable for this week. But going back and watching the game, I think he had his worst game of the year. And he was just out there. On the run gaps, he was running through, knowing that he had no shot to get the back on the ground, creating lateral seams. The second play of the game, they have a man coverage where he has an in and out with the other linebacker on Walker. And last minute, he decides to blitz. And he's supposed to be the inside piece on the screen to make the tackle. They give up a big play. He missed a tackle on the sideline on JSN. His play has significantly deteriorated since Fred Warner exited with the injury. And I thought that he would be somebody to rely on, but I'm really starting to feel like it's going to have to be Kendricks. And I remember back watching Kendricks when he was in Minnesota. Tatum Bethune is out with a season ending injury. I actually think that this is an upgrade. I think that they might have to scale their defense back a little bit as far as volume. But I think with his veteran leadership and his experience, the 49ers will possibly be surprised with his insertion into the defense this week. What do you guys think?
Yeah, he's going to go in there and play the mic since Bethune is out with that torn groin. Just looking at some stats here from the game, mentioned Tatum Bethune. It was tough. He had 53 snaps and 5 missed tackles. Kendrick played 36 snaps, didn't miss a tackle, and you guys can speak to this. Eric Kendricks in coverage, comparatively speaking, is very much ahead of Tatum Bethune in that department. So I'm in agreement with you, Donte. This you feel bad, obviously, for Tatum Bethune, but Eric Kendricks stepping in, there is no drop off. Matter of fact, it might be an improvement.
What do you think, Pat? You're the expert linebacker.
Man, I'm yeah, there's no doubt. Shout out to what Bethune has done this season. I feel like he showed up every time he was out there, strained every play. But most definitely, I think Kendrick stepping in is going to be a positive because he's a veteran in the game. He's been around the game for a while. Even the snaps that he had last game, you can tell he didn't look bad at all. And so, yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing what he does, especially against his team is coming up.
So something that we haven't talked about, entering the game, the 49ers offense was on a hot streak. They were pretty much unstoppable. They had probably one or two punts within the last month. This game was a total 180, totally opposite of the spectrum. What do you think about the offensive performance? And then specifically, what would you categorize Kyle Shanahan's play calling style as in this previous game?
So here's where I want to start. I want to start with Seattle's defense. All right, we're coming up talking about the Niners defense. I'm going to talk about Seattle's defense in comparison, and I think what they were able to do or how they dictated how the Niners played that game offensively. We talked about the Niners missed tackles. Seattle's the best tackling team in football. Their DBs get to the edges and tackle better than any team in the league. And the way that they were able to stop the Niners run game and just stop the Niners offense, period, but particularly the run game with a bunch of DBs out there, that was impressive. They had their guys up front that gave the Niners offensive line without Trent Williams, gave them all the work that they didn't want to handle. And for those guys, Seattle's defense, to be able to take the Niners run game away with nickel and dime back there, if I'm remembering correctly.
Was it 7-man fronts?
I found it to be very, very impressive. So to me, if you could stop the run with DBs out there and you don't have Trent Williams, you don't have Ricky Pearsall, so there's nothing you got to worry about behind you. It seemed like they had the Niners in between the numbers and they just constricted everything. I think that dictated how Kyle Shanahan tried to call that game.
And that's exactly right. Kyle Shanahan restricted the formations too much to where it was an asset to the Seattle Seahawks defense.
Yeah.
Let me explain this. They stopped the run primarily with a 7-man box, that you would say. But when you think about restricting the formations and having the wide receivers inside the numbers, who are you pulling into the box?
DBs.
You're pulling two corners into the box. So now we don't have a 7-man front. We have a 9-man front. And then what did they do? They kept two safeties back deep. But guess what? They're not deep. They're still run activated based on run pass reads, which means they're playing flat footed and they're going to insert into the run game to make this 11 players on defense that is actively trying to stop the run.
Can I
you know what else it does though, Rod?
Yeah.
It allows the safeties to fuck with your quarterback because they don't have far to go to disguise.
Right.
So they can go to the middle of the field, which is restricted. They could play cover 2, which is restricted. They could play cover 4, walk down from a cover 2 look. Your quarterback is fucking confused. And then guess what? You have no speed receivers on the field, 49ers. You're not pushing any routes vertical. What do you expect the Seattle Seahawks defensive backs to do? Sit on the fucking routes.
On everything.
They have a dominant front four.
Yeah.
Kyle Shanahan and his play calling and his play designs, it attributed to Seattle Seahawks' success on defense.
So my question to both of y'all is, how much of that had to do with the fact that you didn't have Trent Williams and you didn't have Ricky Pearsall?
Well, they didn't really need Trent Williams. You got to spread these formations out. You got to make them show their coverages. You got to get the ball out quickly. You got to take what the defense gives. You can't just go restricted formation and think you're going to run bootlegs, quicks, breakouts. They're sitting on the routes. It was one play out there specifically on 3rd down, I believe, that Seattle played cover 2. They wasn't even running a middle linebacker to the middle of the field because they didn't have a threat deep. And what the 49ers have to do is extend the formations, get those receivers out by the numbers, get a speed slot to keep the safety in the deep half, get a speed wide receiver on the outside to run up the sideline to hold the safety, and then you can work your competitive advantage, which is George Kittle over the middle. You can't do that with restricted formation. So if Kyle Shanahan had to play those guys again, I guarantee you he would come out the way that he did in the second half.
Yeah, man, I'm gonna go with you, Rod. I was saying it earlier, man. When you have a defensive front that can get after get after the quarterback, or just get after the offense, period. And you don't have to blitz 5, and you can set guys back in coverage. Man, that's a beautiful day, and that a lot of times that alleviates a lot of weaknesses in defenses, because every defense does have a weakness to it. But man, when you got a front up front that can get after the quarterback, that eliminates a lot. And they were most definitely on our guys, and they was on them tight.
It was
There was another
wild
big
to
play.
watch on TV and see 10, sometimes 11 Seattle defenders in the picture. Like, to watch it from the broadcast view, a lot of times you watch it, especially in today's NFL, now that everybody's throwing the ball around and everything's spread out, you will only see the guys on the line of scrimmage, right? So the 4 or 5 down linemen, if you got guys who are trying to cover guys at the line of scrimmage, you won't see one safety. Maybe sometimes you won't see 2 safeties, and maybe sometimes you won't see 2 safeties and a DB. It's so many times watching the game, you saw 9, 10, 11 Seattle Seahawks in the broadcast view. You never see that in today's game. And you saw it over and over and over again last Saturday night.
Mainly because the formations brought the defenders into the picture. When you got the receivers 5 yards from the tackle position, it's going to make it look like that. And it gives an optical illusion, which when we played with Vic Fangio, how often did we use optical illusions to our advantage, Pat?
Man,
Where
a
they would
lot.
talk about the safety shoulders, the depth and the width of the safeties, the leverage of the nickelback, the
Yeah.
eyes and the mannerisms of all people involved, the front, the linebackers, being good actors out there, understanding what you're taught. If you're playing cover 2 and I know that I'm playing flat footed and I can read that a Z is going to crack on a linebacker or initiate contact on a nickel, and I can run 4-3 and I'm quick and explosive, I can get to the line of scrimmage before the running back gets to the line of scrimmage. So that's why you saw that. The restricted formations, the safeties not having far to go for their actual coverage, and having everybody engaged in on the run and the quick passes were to the benefit of the Seattle Seahawks. And the 49ers are going to have to figure that out, because the Philadelphia Eagles are a resemblance of that this week.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like man, I go back and I think about the Eagles offense. I feel like the Niners won. I feel like they played well there, or they've played well there over the years. But the Eagles offense doesn't seem very complicated. I just feel like it's just going to be a day of a mano only mano. We always talk about it all the time. You have to win your one-on-ones, and I feel like they're going to do a good job of trying to spread our guys out and get those one-on-ones.
Pat, there was nothing complicated about what the Seahawks did to the 49ers defense this past week. Those screens, lead week, cutbacks. You don't think that you're going to see the same thing from Saquon Barkley this week?
Yeah, but they run that out of 2-back, right? They was a
Man, they run it out of 1 back, and Saquon Barkley was damn near the MVP last year, Pat. What are we talking about?
No, I think it's gonna be big. Those guys up front really gonna have to do a great job of staying stout and staying square, and not getting reached, because I feel like you're saying, they love to run a lot of the TGs, the 1-back powers, or the guards pulling and trying to get to the edges or whatnot. But Saquon, man, he can do it all. He can hit you downhill. He can hit you outside. So you really have to be on your. You're gonna have to be on your stuff.
It
So how
is
confident are you in
interesting.
this 49ers makeshift defense on stopping Saquon Barkley this week, which, in my opinion, is the key to the game?
I think they're gonna get after him.
You think they're going to get after him?
Yeah, I think they're gonna get after him.
What has shown you that?
It's more so on how they've been all year. When they've coming off a loss, they've bounced back pretty strong. And I feel like this game right here was a very humbling and grounding game for them as a whole, because I feel like they have been winning. They won a lot of games this year, just by a little bit, and they've fought to the wire. And I think going into the playoffs, they needed this little moment to recalibrate, or really just go in and take a deep breath and be like, okay, this is what it's going to be like. Because as I said before, there are levels to it: preseason, regular season, and now playoffs is going to be another. And I think they got a little taste of what that's going to feel like this week.
I'm with Pat on this one. I'm going to start with the Niners offense. they're not going to get held to 3 points or under the opponent's average allowed 2 games in a row. Seattle averages 18 points allowed. They didn't get anywhere close to that. The Eagles averaged 19 points allowed. I can't think the Niners are going to have 2 terrible offensive games back to back. They have to be better, no doubt. They got to get some guys back. They have to change some things. But I can't see this Niner offense that has been a juggernaut all season long. I can't see them having 2 terrible back-to-back games. But to get to Saquon Barkley, again, I'm with Pat on this one. Niners run defense, and we've been talking about it all year long. It has not been good. But it's what's been troubling for them is when they've had to deal with multiple guys in the run game. Charbonnet and Walker got them on the ground and in the pass game. But if you look at what the Niners this year, when they had to deal with just one bell cow back, and I'm cherry picking here, but I think these are 2 very good examples. When they had to deal with Bijan Robinson, who was hot as fish grease when he came in on that Sunday night, the way they held him to, 3.4 yards per carry and only 49, 50 some odd yards. Jonathan Taylor, they held him down as well. Different scenario because it was Phillip Rivers, but Jonathan Taylor still a very good back. When the Niners have to focus on one back, they've done pretty well. And Saquon Barkley has not been all that active in the Eagles' passing game. So I'm with you, Donte. If they get him involved, I think that's a wrinkle that might be problematic for the Niners. But if they don't, and it's just give the ball to Saquon Barkley, I give the Niners a puncher's chance. And they have to do what they absolutely did not do against Seattle. They have to get off the field on third downs. And the Eagles are not a good third down conversion team. Put the ball in the game on Jalen Hurts' shoulders. And what the problem with the Eagles, they don't have any. If you stop them in one way, they have no counter. So if you put the game on Jalen Hurts' shoulders in Philly in the fourth quarter and it starts to get tight, Niners got more than a puncher's chance of winning that game.
So you mean to tell me
Oh, shit, I knew he was
you would
coming.
take fucking Chardonnay and Walker over a heavy dosage of Saquon Barkley? You mean to tell me it's easier to defend those two
I would.
cats
Yes,
than it is a
because it's 2
consistent
guys and they're
dosage
both active in the
dosage of
pass game.
Saquon
Yes,
Barkley?
I would.
Yeah, and their offense and the way the Seattle's offense was, I feel like they was more of a like Rod is saying, a 2-back, downhill in between the tackles. And I feel like with Seattle, they're very, I don't know, their offense just doesn't.
Philly's
Seattle
offense is not very diverse. If they can't get it with Saquon Barkley, and if they can't beat you with, okay, now we'll throw it to Brown and we'll throw it to Adams, maybe mix in the tight end a little bit. If they can't, it's
The
very.
Seahawks didn't have to be diverse to get anything on the fucking 49ers.
That's
They
their
ran
offense,
inside zone, lead weak, toss, quick passes, and they fucking did anything they want.
Yeah, but that's more diverse than what the Eagles throw out there.
Yeah,
And AJ Brown is a big, strong, fast wide receiver that can do anything.
He's still got to
He
get
can
the
go
ball
deep.
thrown
He can
to
be
him.
possession. He can go slot. He can give you after the catch. He can give you after the run. He can score touchdowns in the red zone. Devontae Smith can go deep on you. They throw more deep balls than anybody in the league. Even if they don't connect on them, you're going to have to defend the deep balls from these guys. And then just Saquon Barkley back there. If you think Chardonnay and Walker's vision was pristine, wait till you see this motherfucking guy this week.
I know how good
Man,
he
y'all
is.
can't disrespect Saquon like that.
No. See, don't do that. Don't do that. I'm not disrespecting Saquon Barkley.
Right.
I'm just saying from an offensive diversification standpoint, Seattle has more of that than Philadelphia. Philly's got dudes, man. Don't get it twisted.
Yeah.
Philly's got dudes. I will say this, though. I consider Jackson Smith and Jigba a bigger problem singularly than I do A.J. Brown and Devontae Adams as a duo. And I'm being silly here and simplistic, just running go routes. And Jalen Hurts has to accurately find them, which he really hasn't done to the extent that you would expect him to this season, even though they're both 1,000-yard receivers.
Yeah,
I agree
I'll
with
stand on it.
I agree with that. And we've been talking about Jalen Hurts all year and how he can't connect with his receivers consistently, but he does come through in the moment.
Well, yeah,
And like
don't
you guys
disagree.
have said, those feet will help that offense if he wants to get outside the pocket and it's playoff time, the money's on the line.
He has
You have
to.
to believe that Jalen Hurts is going to tuck it and run it and cause that defense to really panic. And that's what we've seen. So I'm not saying that the Eagles are going to roll over the 49ers. I'm not saying that. But I'm saying that the key to the game, like we saw last week, it's going to be those defensive ends playing the run properly, the defensive linemen not going too laterally, and they need to get penetration, and they have to have their best tackling game.
Yes.
They have to. And another thing is, coin toss, 49ers, if you win it, take the fucking ball. You have to get on the board early. Hopefully your defense can get a 3-and-out turnover, get back on the board, get a field goal. But if you fall behind early and you think that you're going to rely on this defense to get the ball back for you, you're going to be highly disappointed at the end of this game.
If they get out to a 7-0 lead, that will change the entire dynamic of the game. For sure. I agree with you.
Absolutely. So I want to talk about Vic Fangio, his influence on that defense, what they like to do, and how can the 49ers really dissect that defense, Pat? We have intricate knowledge on it. You know, he's going to go 4-man rush. He's going to use multiple variations of different coverages. Everything's going to look the same. So how should Brock Purdy and Kyle Shanahan go about trying to dissect this defense?
I would say
Are you frozen, my nigga?
man, I'm over here thinking. I'm like, man, do they run the ball against them? Because I know, Kyle's offense is, is predicated on, getting the run game going and then opening it up, those windows and whatnot. And so, shit, man, knowing Vic, 4-man
Now
pressure.
you're going to have to give Vic the unscouted looks. He combs through that film.
Yeah,
He knows exactly what you like to do. He knows
he be on his shit. That's why I'm stuck,
tendencies.
man. I'm like,
Yeah, he's going to be on it. So you're going to have
they
a lot of
2 weeks
tendency breakers to really score points on this defense, because the things that you like to do the best, he's going to take away like all the great coaches do, all great defense coordinators do.
Yeah.
He's going to make you rely on your weaknesses. So I would say last week, they didn't even get to that use check motion formation until the first play of the second half. That's been their most prolific offensive formation play, and they didn't even get to it in the second half. So I'm thinking they're going to have to get some of that stuff going.
Yeah.
They're going to have a great day on the game, on the day running the football, first and second down. They're going to have to keep it in a game where it's third and short, third and medium, and Kyle is going to have to go for it sometimes on fourth down. You're going to have to take a risk in this game.
Yeah, they got to have which means they got to have the run. They either have to have the run game going or they need to get on the quicks fast. But one thing about Vic's defense, though, man, like I don't know, I feel like I've seen this year though they've been, I don't say they've been hit and miss, but I feel like teams have gotten out on them at times and even made me kind of pause and be like, man, what's happening with the kind of individuals they have, on that defense, and then just collectively, I feel like they have some weaknesses. And man, for what it's worth, Donte, I think it's what you're saying. They're going to have to give him some unscouted looks because Vic be on this stuff, man. He done went back and watched everything. There's no doubt they're going to go back and watch his Seattle film. And so, Donte, maybe if they listening or people out here listening, they'll take heed of your words and open up their offense a little bit or whatnot and not condense it and give those guys, easy access, to the ball.
What about Ricky Pearsall? Is Ricky Pearsall going to be available this week? Because I think when I'm looking at their receiver room and their offensive ball receivers, he's really the only one that can really affect the defense and threaten them downfield.
Yep.
The route running, the separation at the top of the route. Is Ricky Pearsall going to be available? And if he isn't, who's the next man in line to possibly be some type of threat to this Philadelphia Eagles defense?
There's not a guy that replicates what Ricky Pearsall does consistently. He's the only guy that beats man coverage. He's the only guy that threatens downfield. He's the fastest guy in that receiver group. and the only one that DBs respect, fear, however you want to put it. So, to me, if the Niners are going to win this game, or if they're going to play the way that they want to play and need to play against Vic Fangio and this defense, Pearsall's got to play and Trent Williams has to play. And we haven't really talked about it, but we talked about how condensed everything was for the Niners. How much of that had to do with, Trent Williams not being there, and you had to have George Kittle in there to block. So to me, if those two guys are not there, it's going to be hard in my estimation, it's going to be hard for the Niners to diversify their offense the way that they need to give Vic Fangio something to think about.
And Vic love his man defense too. So he loves playing tight. So
He does, and he's going to give you, and this is my advice to Brock Purdy, knowing Vic Fangio, he's going to show you totally opposite of what he's going to give you. So if he shows you two safeties high, expect a safety in the middle of the field or all-out blitz. If he shows you zone coverage, and a lot of them, expect man coverage, linebackers covering and running with wide receivers. You remember that, Pat, in Atlanta?
yeah.
In Green Bay? How they
Yeah.
would put you and Navarro aligned over wide receivers, and they would think it was zone, and you guys would play man coverage?
Yeah.
He always has some type of hiccup in there to really throw your quarterback off and try to force a turnover. Going around the league, wild card weekend, man. It's wild card weekend. I'm excited like I'm playing. I want to go through these games, and I want to get you guys' opinion on the games, and I want to, who do you think or forecast winning these? First, I'm going to start off with the Rams and the Panthers. First game, 4:30 p.m. Eastern time. Who you guys have?
Come on, man. Give me the
Yeah.
Rams. Let's keep it moving.
Should be the Rams, even though the Panthers, they have their moments, but this race should be a Rams game.
This won't be their moment, Pat. It's over. Rams win.
Hey, man, hey, those last place teams be having a way of making a little spunk.
Packers, Bears.
Bears.
I'm gonna go. I don't know. I'm gonna go Bears.
Packers limping.
I'm going Packers, man. I like Jordan Love. I like Christian Watkins. I like what they can do on offense. I think that Halfley is going to have to figure out a way to at least get 2 turnovers off of Caleb Williams. If he can get 2 turnovers off of Caleb Williams, I'm taking the Green Bay Packers to upset the Chicago Bears. This one I think is going to be pretty interesting. The Buffalo Bills and the Jacksonville Jaguars, who have been on fire as of late.
That's one of my upsets. I was
What's the upset? Buffalo upsetting Jacksonville? Because I believe Jacksonville was the highest seed, right?
Yeah. Nah. I can't do it. It's Jacksonville. What's about Jacksonville? It's gonna come down to defense. No, I'm not saying anything that's crazy. Jacksonville's defense. I don't think people, because it's Houston, it's Denver. Obviously, what the Eagles do, what Seattle is doing. I don't think people give Jacksonville's defense enough run. Buffalo's defense hadn't been good at all. I think it's going to be an upset from the standpoint of how bad Jacksonville is going to make Buffalo look.
Wow.
Yeah, man, it's hard to go against Josh Allen because he's supposed to be the new premier now, and so. But I'm going with you, Rod. The Jacksonville defense have stepped up this season big time, and they're playing really solid right now. I like the linebacker they have playing for them as well. So I'm Jacksonville.
I got to go with the Buffalo Bills. I got their fucking emblem tattoo right here. Remember, they picked in 2006, and I'm not picking them because of that. I'm picking them because this is the year that I believe that Josh Allen can finally get over the hump.
Okay.
There's no Patrick Mahomes. There's a lot of pressure on his shoulders. I think that he relishes the opportunity to be the underdog, and he'll be able to play loosely. If the Buffalo Bills were the higher seed here, I think that Josh Allen would be pressing, turn the football over. But this is when I believe that he's going to turn to Superman, put his cape on. So I'm believing that The Buffalo Bills are going to beat the Jacksonville Jaguars, and it's not even going to be close. And Josh Allen is going to have one of those days where it's like 5, 6 touchdowns, 3 rushing, 3 throwing, and they're going to
Man.
get to the second
Dude,
round. I'm going to go with the Buffalo Bills. I'm telling you, I'm calling it
Jacksonville's
right now.
defense stopping Cook. If they stop him and make Josh Allen have to be Superman, I think that's advantage Jacksonville. All right, we're going head to head. I like it.
Yeah, we got to see that one. Let's go to Chargers and the Patriots.
I'll let you think about it, Pat.
Pat, don't you go against your coach, Pat.
Hey, I was thinking, but I'm not really a big New England guy, even though I respect him, playing well in a very Vrabel's first year, which I've heard he might be a coach of the year candidate, but shit, I don't know. I'm at the wait.
I'll let you think about it. That's my other upset. If they can get a little bit more protection, and I know I'm asking a lot here, big if, they can get a little bit more protection for Herbert, that defense is going to get after Drake May. And I think they're going to blitz him, and they're going to see if this young man who's had a fantastic season, they are going to put him under metaphorical pressure, and they're going to put him under literal pressure. And I give Vrabel and the Patriots a lot of credit for what they've done, and I think it's a good Patriots defense. But I think that Charger defense is going to test Drake May. And if he passes the test, I'm wrong. Good for him. But I need to see it first. I think the Chargers beat the Patriots.
Yeah,
When you start to see guys getting arrested, you know they're ready to win. The Patriots got 2 guys arrested in the last couple
Come
weeks.
on, bro.
Pat, you remember Alden and the boys used to get arrested every time we was ready to win.
Yo, man.
Dallas Cowboys back in the day, the boys get arrested before the big win. Man, shit. I got to go with the New England Patriots. And then they have a phenomenal defense, top 5 in the league.
They do.
They have a phenomenal offense. Drake May, in my opinion, is probably going to win the MVP this year.
Really?
Yeah, I believe that they want to give it to him. Now, so I'm going to go with the New England Patriots in this one, and I don't think that hardball magic is going to work this week. When you can't protect your quarterback, when you're playing a legitimate top 5 defense in the league, it doesn't make a lot of mistakes, that can rush the passer, stop the run, get turnovers, I think you're in for trouble. So I have to go with the New England Patriots.
Break the tie, Pat. Break the tie. What you got?
After hearing both of you guys, man, I want to go 50-50, but I can't go against my guys, man. I'm going to have to go with the Chargers. I feel like they have that one game where they're going to come out, and there's probably going to be this game, and then the next game they'll probably – pee to bed, but I think with the defense they have that's rolling right now, I'm going to ride with them. I think Herbert's going to have some magic.
This smells like a game where Derwin James, one of my absolute favorite players, this smells like a game where Derwin James matches up with Drake May, and he's that chess piece that moves around, and May has to look for him and account for him and worry about him. And I think that, combined with some other factors, is going to kind of knock May off of his axis.
Yeah, I'm not a big. I don't know what kind of cornerbacks the Chargers have, but I'm gonna ride with their defense though. I like Khalil Mack, old man, still getting it done.
Yeah, man.
And those linebackers play pretty steady. So
why? Because Navarro over there.
Yeah, man, he got them guys right. Man, he got them boys.
Navarro got them boys playing lights out.
Yeah, he got them playing pretty solid. And then, like Rod said, I'm a big fan of Derwin James. Like he's that safety of today. He's the epitome of what you want to watch, what you want to see on the field. So I'm gonna ride with those guys. I think they got. I know they at least got one magic game in them. So maybe it'll be this one.
All right, we'll see. But I'm going heavily with the Patriots. And then last but not least, 49ers Eagles.
I'm faithful. So I'm riding with the Eagles. I think they play well. I'm sorry. Shit, did I just say that?
You said you ran with the Eagles, man.
I didn't hear nothing.
Conscious is a
yeah, I was like, wait.
I blacked out. I don't know what you're talking about, dog.
No.
He said EAGLES.
No. Again, the Niners have played well on the road up there over the last few years. They usually play well after a loss, and this game right here, I think, it's a huge game for those guys. I know they want to bounce back and play well for their coaches and for themselves and for the 49ers fans. So I'm gonna ride with the with the 49ers, and plus the 49er faithful travel well as
So
well.
before you answer, Rod, I remember the last time the 49ers were there, I believe that Brock Purdy tore his UCL
No,
in
they went
NFC
back after that.
Championship.
He threw 4 touchdowns, didn't he? He went back the next year, right? Didn't they play the
Did
next
he?
year? Yeah, if I remember correctly. He went
I
back
know
the next year, threw
I
4
know one year
touchdowns.
he got hurt there. That's the year that Josh Johnson took over.
That was the championship game. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Let me look here real quick if we got the time here. But if I'm remembering correctly, he went back the next year, and so that was 2020 what? 2 or 3? I think it was 2023. So give me a second here. Sure, this is fascinating podcasting right here. They went to Philly in 2023 and won 42-19. Brock Purdy went 19 to 27, 314, 4 touchdowns, no interceptions. McCaffrey had 93 yards on the ground. Debo had 22 yards on the ground and a touchdown. And Debo had, yeah, that's right. Debo had 2 touchdowns through the air, 4 catches for 116 yards. So different skill position players, but same Brock Purdy. So it happened.
So who are you going with?
So here's what I'm going. The Niners, they got embarrassed on both sides of the ball. They got embarrassed by Seattle. If it was a close loss to Seattle, I would be inclined to think that the Eagles would win. But because the Niners got whooped at the line of scrimmage, not the best coaching day from your coordinators, and other factors that we talked about, I think this is a game where a team that has dealt with a lot of adversity this year and with injuries and having to do it the hard way. They've done it in the regular season. I think they're going to do it again for one game in the postseason. And to me, this is where they tie a knot in the bottom of the rope and they hang on. I think they win it. It's going to be close. It's going to be tight, and it's going to come down to special teams. It's going to be the Niners are going to have a slim lead or be down 1 possession in the fourth quarter, and that's when it's going to get real tight for the Eagles. And it's either going to be some sort of a key special teams play or just a kick to win it for the Niners. And I think they win it like 23-21, something crazy. Like they're going to get to 19, 20 points, which is what the Eagles defensively allow per game. They're going to get to that. The question is, how do they keep the Eagles from scoring? I think they're going to rally up defensively and do it. So I'm going to say Niners 23-21 over the Eagles.
And I agree with you, Rod. I think this is going to be a game where the 49ers offense, watching the Eagles defense, is going to be able to get pretty much everything that they want. They rely on the run game, the quick game, screen game, a lot of George Kittle.
A lot of Kittle.
But I'm going to say this, and I'm going to recant something that I said in a previous episode. And I did say that I didn't think that Fred Warner should return under any circumstance. I do believe that they can beat the Philadelphia Eagles without Fred Warner. But the Rams, seeing the Bears or the Packers again, I don't know if the 49ers can win the Super Bowl if Fred Warner does not return.
No.
That's almost an absolute.
No.
With the way that the defense is playing, the lackluster performances, the lack of communication, the lack of tackling. When I was watching that 3rd and 17, guys, I can just envision Fred Warner running sideline to sideline, showing up in the alley, getting up, flexing. I didn't see anybody show up in that manner.
Mm-hmm.
That's what it takes to play championship defense. And even if you're not the stingiest of defense, you need somebody out there that put fear in the opponents. And they don't have that player.
Yeah.
So I do think they beat the Philadelphia Eagles. I do not think they beat the remaining playoff teams if Fred Warner does not return. So Fred, Put your Superman cape on. Continue to stay in your hyperbaric chamber. Because I'm telling you right now, these boys need you, and they need you desperately. And that'll do it for episode 19 of the Grit Code Podcast. And be sure to subscribe on Apple, Spotify, YouTube, X, and Instagram. And for myself, Rod, and Patrick, remember, it's not just a code, it's a way of life.